Hello and welcome. My name is Dan Dunmore.
I am Emma Davis.
And this is Skype Up Your Life.
This is a live TV broadcast, filmed, directed and presented by media students from London South East colleges based at our Orpington campus.
You can also watch our productions live through YouTube and subscribing to the channel Orp On Air.
And you can get involved with the show by following @Orp On Air on Twitter.
So what is Skype Up Your Life all about? Well, this is a show where we get the chance to meet and chat with industry professionals, ask questions and find out what it takes to work in the world of media production.
And all of this takes place via video calls on this screen here.
We have questions, our studio audience have questions, and people at home may want to tweet in and ask questions too. So who are we chatting to today?
Well, let's have a little look and see.
Oh, it's TV's Iain Lee.
Thank you. Welcome to the 11 o'clock show.
Now meet our host. It's Iain Lee.
So, Iain Lee is here.
Come on, this is for you. Welcome.
Please welcome from the audience, a bloke called Iain. Iain! Lovely. I want to thank the band. After that racket, I can only appear good. Now, Margaret Thatcher.
Guys, let's just say I'm free, I'm ready, I've got some moves.
Yeah, it's Big Brother starts tonight at 9 o'clock on Channel 5.
I know I'd love to have a go at one. I know you'd love to have a go at one.
Never trust a man who spells his name I-A-N.
Easy, baby, high five.
Now, we've actually got the new 10 Commandments here. These have been drawn up by one of the churches. It's new commandments and commandments written in the language of the street.
Oh.
It has, and this shows exactly how, if we pull in the right direction, what we can do.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference!
The things we do to feed our children.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Iain Lee.
Oh.
Hi, Iain.
I haven't seen that the jumping thing from the jungle for a year, and I got goosebumps watching that. That was one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life.
Well, thank you for joining us today, especially as we understand you had an early start appearing on Good Morning Britain this morning. How did that go?
It was all right. I think because I do a late night radio show. So I finished the show at 1. Good Morning Britain had put me up at a very, very nice hotel. And I got to bed at 2 and my alarm went off at 4:57. So I'm tired, but Good Morning Britain was great. I met Dolph Lundgren, I met Joe Pasquale, and I met Johnny Ball. All names I'm sure you're very familiar with being young people. There's me and Dolph Lundgren. Look, Ivan Drago.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We're just going to ask you a few questions so we can get an insight.
Ask me anything you want. I'm an open book.
Fantastic. So the first question, are there any differences in working in TV compared to working in radio, and which do you prefer?
Wow. Yeah, there are loads of differences. It's completely different. It's like comparing, working in a shop with working on a ship. They're just different worlds. I prefer radio because it's just me and my producer, Catherine, and we get a lot of freedom and we can kind of do whatever we want. We're very lucky in that respect. And in TV, it's much more structured and you have to do kind of what you're told within a certain framework. But I enjoy TV. I was with the comedian Shappi Khorsandi for lunch the other day because I lead a very showbiz life. And she said that she really enjoys being on TV. She likes being on TV, and no one really says that because it sounds a bit arrogant and what. But yeah, Good Morning Britain is fun. They're really, really nice people. You get to do silly, interesting things, and it's good fun.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Iain. And how did you get started in the industry, and what were your first breaks in TV and radio?
I wanted to be an actor. Always wanted to be an actor, and I studied performing arts at university, and I couldn't get any acting work because I wasn't actually very good. So I did what I considered to be the next best thing is I went out and did stand-up comedy because we didn't have podcasts then. We didn't have YouTube. It was not so easy to make your own content as it is now. So the only way I could get performing time was to go out and do stand-up comedy, and I was never very good at it, and I died more often than I won. But I just got really lucky, and it's a long, boring story, but basically I was doing a gig, and on the one night I was quite good, the right person was in the audience, and I got an audition for a show called the 11 O'Clock Show, which is how my big break, I guess you would call it.
Fantastic. So obviously this show is being broadcasted from Orpington LSEC colleges. Our next project on the course is a radio production project. So we've got to devise our own studio shows. So what advice would you give to our students for planning a new radio show?
Because we don't really plan our radio show. Just make something that you would be interested in. Try not to think, this is my suggestion, this is how I do it, you know, I'm not telling you, but try not to think, will people like this? Are people going to enjoy this? Think, would I like this? Would I enjoy this? Is this the kind of thing that I would listen to? Okay, forget the audience while you're planning it. And if every bit in that show is something that you would enjoy as a listener, then go for it. Even if others are maybe saying, I don't know if that's going to work. If you'd enjoy it, if you would like it, and you get the chance to make that call, then put it in there. And I've learned the most from when I've muffed things up and failed. When things are going well, I'm not really learning a lot. I'm kind of coasting. When I have spectacular failures and I get things wrong, that's when I learn the most. So don't be afraid of failure.
Thank you. And you have worked at a number of radio stations, including LBC, Absolute, BBC Local Radio, and of course now at Talk Radio. Are there any major differences between the stations and how they are run?
Yeah, the BBC suck. No, I'm joking. Although they do suck a little bit. Are there any major? The major differences are between the BBC and between commercials. So LBC, Absolute, Virgin, Talk Radio, you can kind of lump those together. The BBC have very, very strict rules, very strict guidelines. The BBC is going through a very strange phase of its existence where I kind of think maybe in 15 years' time, the BBC isn't going to exist in the way that we know it because the things are happening. So the BBC is very structured. You have lots of people saying, oh, you can't do that. Or why did you do that? You can't do that. And commercial is a lot freer. But the downside of commercial is you are totally beholden to the numbers. If you're not getting the listening figures, then you're out. Whereas for the BBC, the listening figures aren't quite so important. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, ups and downs, etsy ketsy, as the Greeks say.
Fantastic. I'm sure we have questions from our audience, because obviously we do have a studio audience with us today.
Hello, studio audience. You're my favorite studio audience of the day. Hi, guys.
We hope they're not all about I'm a Celebrity and strawberries. So do we have any questions from our audience members today? Please.
Uh-oh. That's embarrassing.
Any questions at all?
Come on, guys. Ask me anything. Yes, I'll tell you the truth. Everybody in the jungle last year was an absolute a-hole, and I hated all of them, and I never want to see any of them again. There's that question answered.
What makes you think that the BBC is not going to be around in 15 to 10 years' time?
Okay, because the BBC has lost its balls. Okay, the BBC used to be the greatest broadcasting industry in the world, but about 8-9 years ago, there was a big scandal with Jonathan Ross and Jimmy Carr that shouldn't have been a big scandal, but it became a big scandal. And as a result of that, the BBC kind of lost the balls to be outrageous and to possibly offend people and to do crazy stuff. And it's getting more and more concerned about what people are thinking about it. Also, it breaks my heart to say, but I think there's been a really strong bias in this whole, I'll say it once, this whole Brexit thing. The BBC has been quite biased in a way that I've never noticed before, kind of in favour of Brexit. And I think the BBC is pandering to the government too much. This is getting heavy, man. I just think it's losing a lot of support. If people like me who love the BBC, even though they sacked me, I love the BBC. If people like me are speaking out against it, then I don't see it having too many supporters in the future.
Okay, thanks.
What do you think? I mean, are you a fan of the BBC? Here's the thing. This is the thing I've discovered. I've got kids who are obviously a lot younger than you. They're 7 and 9. And they don't watch television or listen to radio in the way that I watch television and listen to radio. And in fact, they don't, at the moment, they're not watching TV. They're watching a lot of YouTubers. Dennis Daly is their kind of thing at the moment. So you, as young people, I wondered what you thought of the BBC. Do you even listen to a BBC radio station? Do you sit down and go, there's a program I want to watch on BBC One at 9 o'clock. I must sit down and watch it. Do you even interact with the BBC?
Not particularly, but I think it's not competitive because of so many different people can do what they want and they can find their own interest and whatever they want, instead of just listening to something that's most of the time just depressing news.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
No, I agree. There are so many ways for people to express themselves now and to create. It's like, this YouTuber, Dennis Daly, he's a guy that plays Roblox and Fortnite, and he gets more viewers than a lot of BBC TV programs. And this is a guy doing it in his bedroom. It's a slight machine behind him. But I think that the whole traditional media of television as we know it, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, I think that they're really out of touch with what is going on. I think I'm out of touch with what's going on. I'm 45. I'm only just noticing this. So, I'm an old fart. I don't know what's happening. And I think with things like YouTube and Twitch and podcasts where you can not only listen and watch to people that you like, you can also support them financially. I think that that's just going to smash traditional media.
Would you say opinions of issues are changing across the board between the traditional thought?
Opinions of issues. Sorry, what do you mean by that?
That things are changing slightly, conversations between people and other. I don't know.
No, listen, I'm an old man, right? Here's the thing that it's dawned on me, and it should have dawned on me 10 years ago. I'm an old man, and I'm completely, I'm setting up Skype to do this, and I'm going, I don't know how this works. Was this working? Is this on? So I'm completely out of touch. I'm only just getting into Twitch. I'm only just really getting into YouTube, and I do podcasts and things like that. But my time has kind of gone. Here's the exciting thing for you lot. You have more ways to reach people than I ever had. I had to go and do stand-up comedy to get an audience, and I had to go and stand in rooms with maybe 10, 15 people to communicate. You can now on your phones make a TV show, and there's me using old-fashioned language. Make a podcast, make an album. You can make anything you want, and you can put it out there. And it helps if you've got a bit of a name to get an audience, but if it's good and it catches the wind, it might just take off. Loads of these YouTubers, who are they? They're nobody really, but they did something at the right time that caught people's imagination. And now a lot of them are huge. A lot of them are nothing. They're getting 5, 6 viewers. Okay, as long as you keep making the content, as long as you keep making stuff that you want to make, you hone your skills as broadcasters and presenters and producers and editors and writers. Keep doing that, and one day, if you're lucky, that's a big part of it is luck, you might have a huge hit. The odds are you won't. Statistically you probably won't, but who knows what makes a hit these days.
Yeah, I think the conversation between sort of online platforms like YouTube and Twitch with traditional media is quite a good one. You say that the BBC and the ITV are out of touch. Give it 10, 15 years, where do you think it's going to be compared? Do you think that there will still be BBC One, or will YouTube have its own channel on TV on our skyboxes and stuff like that? Where do you think it's going to end up?
YouTube kind of has its own channel, doesn't it, to a certain extent, in that if you've got a smart TV or an Xbox or a PlayStation, you can watch YouTube on your telly. I think the concept of you pressing button 6 to go to a channel is almost dead. With iPlayer and with all these things, you can watch a program anytime you want. So I've just started playing around with Twitch, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying streaming games. I'm also enjoying watching people. There's a guy in there called Brian Limmy, who's a brilliant comedian who is doing some really innovative stuff on Twitch. He's not just playing games, he's also doing little shows and interactive formats and things. The fact that you're doing this, right? The fact that you are doing this in your college, you are streaming a very professional, although my tip, I'd have got someone to iron that black drape on that television underneath the TV. For goodness sake.
It was all a bit last minute, but you know.
But apart from that, the fact that you are in a room miles away from me and you are streaming a live show, God knows how many people you've got. It could be 1 million, it could be 10, who knows? And it doesn't really matter. The fact that you're doing this, the fact that you've got me in a hotel room in West London talking to you, the fact that this isn't, you know, this to me is like crazy, insane future talk, that you can pull this off. You know, this is probably old hat to you, but I'm old enough to remember when if they wanted to, if a TV show wanted a live link up with a guest in Los Angeles, they had to book a satellite, and that satellite would cost £40,000, and you only had the window of like 5 minutes before the satellite passed over the earth. I think television as we know it is dead. And I get that because my 7 and my 9-year-old do not know how to work the television in the traditional way that I do. They don't go, oh, it's 5:30, we need to watch our program. They watch Netflix and they watch Amazon Prime and they watch YouTube. They choose what they want to watch when they want to watch it. And I do think that BBC One will be around in 15 years, but I think BBC is going to be a lot smaller and a lot different, and probably a subscription service as opposed to a license fee, you know.
Okay, fantastic. Very great insight there. I think we've got another question from the studio audience as well.
Do you see yourself in the near future maybe doing YouTube or Twitch live streams as a means of financially supporting yourself?
That's an excellent question. Limmy, who I mentioned, and he's kind of the same age as me, and he gets like 1,000 viewers on Twitch, and he gets about $3,500 a month, which to me is insane that people are subscribing to him and paying this money. Do I see myself making a living from it? I would love to. I've got a feeling that my core audience that knows about me is actually quite old, and so the thought of them subscribing to Twitch or subscribing to YouTube or donating via YouTube is probably slightly alien to them. I suspect that me personally, that I'm a little bit late for the boat, and I think that the boat has just kind of taken off and I'm still on the shore. So I would love to make a living from it. I don't know if I'll ever be in a position to do that. I think I've probably missed my opportunity.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. We've got another question from Amelia in the audience.
Hiya. I would just like to know who's better at Monopoly, Ian or Jeff?
Yes, mate. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're getting to the important stuff. Thank you so much, Amelia, for asking that. I love you. Jeff is the guy that is supposedly the brains behind this organization, but having spoken to all of you, I can tell he's not. He's a filthy, lying cheat. Never play Monopoly with that guy. He's a scumbag. He's a troll. He's an online troll, and he should be ashamed of himself. Thank you for letting me say that, Amelia. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you.
Thank you.
Fantastic, great question. Do you wanna...
Have we got any more questions in the audience at all?
Let's take one more question from the audience. Yeah.
Oh. Fainted. Oh no, he's fainted. Dead.
When you're in the celebrity jungle, what did you miss the most? Home comforts and stuff, apart from your family and kids and all that.
Oh, okay, right. The soppy answer is I miss my kids, and it's funny. You know, when there's always that bit in the jungle when you get letters from family and everyone starts crying, and you think, oh, come on, man, you've only been in there 10 days. Something happens. Everything gets very, very heightened, and you're so tired and hungry, and everybody there is a dick. And you get that letter from your kids, you do burst into tears. What did I miss? I missed books. I missed reading. It was really, really boring in there. There was nothing to do. You could go 3 days without doing anything, being stuck with people that, you know, you didn't have a lot in common with. And you would be praying for a challenge just to get you out of there until you go and meet some other people and do something for 3 hours. So I miss books. I miss being able to read. You had nothing. You had to sit there and you couldn't write. You couldn't read. You had to make up your own games. and it was boring as hell. So I missed books, is what I missed, and food. We all took. I went in there 5 days after everyone else, and they were all just talking about food all the time. And you think, this is weird. Stop talking about food. But then once I hit 4 or 5 days, you're so hungry. You just talk about cheese sandwiches and beans on toast and things a lot. So food and books.
Okay, thank you, Iain. You have worked with and interviewed a lot of people, from Angelina Jolie to Brian May. Who has been your favourite person to work with? And on the flip side, who has been the worst?
I've worked with some really, very, very talented people like Daisy Donovan and Kate Lawler and all these kind of people. My favourite person is who I'm working with now, my producer and my co-host, Catherine Boyle, because she's a good friend and we get each other's humour. And when we do the radio show together, I think sort of magic happens in the studio. So she is my favourite. Who has been the worst? That's a really that's a tough old question, because I don't want to appear rude. Who has been the worst? Matthew Wright. Matthew Wright was the worst. The former TV host. I thought he was very rude, and he lied, and he stitched me up, and it was an interview, and I walked into a bear trap, and I didn't want to play his game, and I said I don't want to play his game. And which is a shame, because I liked him. He's a nice guy, and we kind of used to get on and stuff, and he just kind of stitched me up, which I thought was a little bit thing.
Okay, well, I think we're on a sort of trail of worst questions. What's the sort of worst thing about your job? Obviously, a lot of positives, but what's the things that really sort of get on your nerves about it?
I don't think. Okay, the thing is the uncertainty, the job uncertainty, right? I'm on a contract at Talk Radio, and it supposedly goes on till 2019, but in March there's a week when they can sack me. There's a little window in this contract when they can sack me. So it's the job uncertainty. It's not knowing if I'm going to have a job after March, But that's the same for a lot of people in a lot of industries. There aren't that many downsides. I get paid quite well. Not what I used to, but I get paid all right to basically mess around, show off to my friends, and make people laugh and wind people up. And it's not a real job. And I suppose the toughest thing is I talk a lot about mental health and stuff, and I'm nuts. I think I can say that because I am. So I have kind of issues. So the toughest thing is when I'm feeling very depressed, or anxious, or struggling with stuff, going in and having to do a 3-hour show and going, hey, guys, let's have 3 hours of craziness. And inside I'm thinking, man, I wish I was dead. Earlier on I was looking at how I was going to kill myself. I'm not making light about it. I've been in that position. So I guess the toughest thing is having to be entertaining when you feel like you feel crap about yourself. But that's a small thing. I have the best job in the world. I think that what I'm doing is unique. It's the 20th anniversary this year of the 11 o'clock show. I've been a professional, in inverted commas, for 20 years and been pretty much constantly in work. So I guess I must be doing something right.
Okay, fantastic. I think it's only fair, as you have so kindly agreed to join us today, that we give you the opportunity to plug and promote any projects that you may be working on. You have a captive audience here, and I'm sure we can get a few of them to subscribe to your YouTube channel or even on Twitter.
Come on, guys. Forget Twitter. I hate Twitter. I'm staying off Twitter. I've retweeted you because I'm really impressed with what you're doing. Listen, there's two things that I'm kind of working on at the moment. I'm on twitch.tv/Iain Lee if you want to come and watch middle-aged man not really knowing how to play video games. But the thing that is the biggest deal for me is the radio show. It's on at 10 o'clock at night, Monday to Friday. You can listen on DAB, on the Talk Radio app, or talkradio.co.uk. Phone up. It's a phone-in show. Literally anything goes. Don't swear, don't be libelous, but you can call in and call me an idiot, as someone did the other day. You phone in about anything you want. You want to phone in and say, if you want to phone in and ask me questions about presenting and stuff like that, you can. So the Talk Radio show is the big one, the thing that I'm kind of most proud of at the moment. So if you guys want to come and listen to it, we could do with all the listeners we can get, please.
Thank you. It's been so good having you join us today, and we really appreciate your time and advice for everyone here.
Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, it's been an absolute thrill. Honestly, I think your setup is incredible. I think you two are doing an absolutely amazing job.
Thank you.
You have incredible facilities there, so use them, because one day you won't be there and you won't have those facilities. So exploit them as best as you can. And if any of you, want to have a chat about presenting, and I mean, I can't tell you how to get work because that's just down to luck, a lot of it. But if you want to, have a chat about presenting techniques, listen to me, what a tosser, then send me an email, ian@iainlee.com, and I'll happily answer any questions that you got, or get Jeff will put you in touch.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. You've been fantastic today, Ian. Thanks a lot.
So can we please get a big round of applause for Mr. Iain Lee?
And a big thanks to our studio audience and to you at home for joining us on Skype Up Your Life.
Please make sure you follow us on @AllPonAir and subscribe to our YouTube channel for further events. I've been Emma Davis.
And I've been Dan Dunmore.
Thanks for watching.
Ta-ta.
With that, he was gone.